everybody, and welcome back to another day here at Reachin Reverie. Today we are planning on setting our posts for the fencing of our future garden. In our previous video, we rented an auger. That way we could dig post holes and get ready to set our posts. Today we are going to be putting cement in those holes and getting our steel poles set. You can see our holes that we dug with the auger, and we have the steel pipes laid next to each of these holes. It's 17 holes in total. Some of these holes, you'll notice, are longer than others. In this case, this one is along the back fence of the garden. We're going to have in the middle, between end post to end post, we're going to have a support. And anytime you have a support pole, you want to have kickers off to the side to help support, so it'll support the tension of the fence when you go to pull the fence tight. So we're going to have a long pole, and then there'll be some shorter poles sticking a couple feet out of the ground, and then we'll have like a diagonal pole going from each side to support those. So it's feels like it's all coming together, and it's all very, very exciting. Right here, this is going to be the back gate, so we could pull in a tractor or our ATV to unload soil, work on the gardens, bring in more plants. We have a big day ahead of us, but it feels like we did a lot of the manual work on the front end. I know Josh isn't too excited about today. We have 57 bags of concrete we're gonna go through and getting this all set up. And so he's actually on the other side of our house working on the cement mixer, and we're gonna be using that today. It can hold up to 10 bags of concrete at a time, which is a lot better than the traditional way where he puts 2 bags in a wheelbarrow and mixes it by hand. So we're hoping to be a little bit more efficient today with our cement mixing. He's got the tractor warming up. We are ready to go. Hey girls! Good morning, chickens! You may have noticed I'm in a short sleeve shirt today. High, remarkably, is gonna be 79 today. It's a little bit chilly standing here in the shade, but it's gonna warm up. So we're gonna take advantage of this beautiful day we have ahead of us. Things on the homestead don't go as planned. We were planning on using this mixer, dumping it into the tractor bucket, and then going over and filling up the holes. And this is remarkable. Josh actually rebuilt this, got it refurbished, working. He put a new motor in it, but it looks like we need some tweaking, and that may not happen today. But the bucket, this is all working really great, except that the bucket's spinning a little bit too fast, which is making that centrifugal force to where the cement is sticking to the sides of the walls. So when he goes to dump it, it's not actually dumping out. So you could see when he went to dump the bucket how little was actually making it into this. So we did go ahead and shut it down, washed all the cement out, and now we're looking for a plan B. It may just be another day of back-breaking work. Yeah.
Alright.
All right. So we marked these strings. That's where the center of that pole is going to be, right up against the string, so we can make sure it's centered, and also then we'll work on making sure the pole's level.
Okay, back to the mixing board. Still looking good? Yeah, that one's good because you're gonna pull that way.
Oh, so it's okay if you're touching on this side?
Yes, this one, pull that way.
No, then it needs to go to the other side because we're already a little bit too far this way. If it pulls that way, it's gonna go more.
Right there.
Right
That's
there.
how you want to do it. So when it pulls.
Into square, okay. Okay. So we finished the first 3 holes. And what we're doing is we're wanting the edge of this pole essentially to be right up next to that string. And you want it to be just touching the bubble on this side. As he was saying, we're gonna end up stretching fence and it's gonna pull it back to level. And then this way, you want it to be just about level right there. So that's looking pretty good. He is taking the tractor up to the front where we have the concrete so he can get his bags loaded up with water, get it all mixed, and we'll come right back here and keep on going. Our plans did change a little bit today. We started off wanting to use a mixer that Josh had fixed up. It was an old 1940s or 50s model, really large industrial mixer. And Josh has fixed it up to where it now runs. But when we turned it on today, we did run into a little bit of complications in that it looks like it's going to need a gearbox because it doesn't spin slow enough. The centrifugal force forces the concrete up against the walls, and then when he goes to dump it, it's just not really working for us. So instead of turning from a about 2-hour project, this is probably going to be an all-day project. I am down with something. I don't know if it's a sinus infection or a cold, but not really feeling very good today, and so we are doing the best we can. The Roadrunner's checking out our compost pile. Yeah.
Man, it don't take much.
Get it off level? Yeah.
Still good?
Mm-hmm.
Still good?
Still good.
Both ways.
One way. Yeah, we're still good. I'm happy with it.
Okay. That's 6 bags between those 2 holes.
Perfect. That's the way we want it, right?
It is.
So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we have standing up, setting in concrete. We are using a lot more concrete than we estimated. I think our holes with the auger are just a little bit wider than what we were shooting for. So that is eating up a little bit more concrete. So we may need to go in and buy more concrete to finish this job and come back and top these off just a little bit. So far today, you guys, absolutely zero really has been going according to plan, except for the fact that we're just pushing through to get this project done. It's kind of funny. I think I had a lot more plans for this video, and right now I think we're just gonna get to work and push it out, and let's let you guys watch us fill some holes and set some poles, and we'll get this thing done. Looks like you're baking a cake with all that flour and water.
Hey. It's a little too dry.
Yeah. This right here is one of my most favorite times of the day, when the sun, as it's rising, is starting to shine on those mountains in the distance. Within just a few minutes, it goes from purple to pink to red, and then before you know it, this whole space will be flooded with light. Then there in the distance on the other side, you can see the sun is just about to crest that mountain over here to the east. And that's the west. You're being such a good girl, huh? Yeah. And here we are. This is our space that we're going to be gardening in this year. We have the poles cemented into the ground. Josh also came back, and throughout the week he set these 10-foot T-posts into the ground in between our poles. So what we have here in this space for fencing is this is going to be our entranceway. It's going to have a 4-foot gate right here, and we have the really tall poles off to the side. These shorter poles are what we call kicker poles. We're actually going to be shaving these down to a much shorter length. This was just to get them set into the ground, but these are ideally, instead of being about 3 feet tall, they're probably going to be about 14 inches tall. And what you do with these big steel posts is you have this angled, welded on piece of pipe that is what we call a kicker, and that helps stabilize the posts. So everywhere where you see a short post, we're going to have a kicker to support a tall main steel post. In between our steel posts, we have these T-posts on the corners. Each corner is going to have a kicker. This one's going to have an H and a kicker. We're going to have a gate right here with a kicker. And then this is the other side of the gate. This is going to be a 10-foot gate opening out. This is going to be a corner, so we'll have an H and a kicker. T-posts. This is the back of the fence and the central part between the two corner sides. And so this middle is going to have a steel post with kickers coming off each end to help stabilize the fence. And then this is going to essentially mirror the other side. We're going to have a corner. There's a 10-foot gate over here. And then we're going to have another corner and then T-posts going back up to the middle. So that essentially is all of the posts for our fence. So we are getting closer. Each video that we post, we're getting closer to having our garden here ready to be planted. Of course, we have to start with this foundation stuff because we do have a lot of wildlife here on our property. So even though this property is fully fenced, we still have a ton of wildlife that walk through it. And this fence around this gardening space is to help us create a safe place for growing food for our family here on our little homestead that we're building. We want to make sure that the fence is tall enough and strong enough to keep things like hogs and deer out. I can't wait to show you what it looks like when it's done with the fence stretched. We are going to have an 8-foot fence around this gardening space. And Evie, you're sitting right about where our table and chairs are going to go, right here in this middle section. So when you walk in through the garden gate, even though it isn't fenced yet, I still find myself walking through the gate, imagining what it'll be like when this is finished. So when you walk through this garden space, for roughly 27 width feet here in the middle, this is just going to be open. We'll have a seating area right about where Evie's at, table and chairs. Eventually, we would love to build something like a gazebo, maybe have some kind of like central structure element here that will be like you walk in and it's an invitation to hang out into this gardening space. Not just to work on the garden, but to really sit in the middle and enjoy it. And then off to either side, it's going to be essentially mirrored, different plants growing, but the structure of this is going to be a little bit more formal with rows. We'll probably end up filling in this space around our seating area with more beds once we figure out what we're going to do in that middle section, just to maximize our space. But overall, we are just very excited about what we have going on here. And I'm just trying to picture it, what it's going to look like with the fence on, start picturing the rows here in the next, really today and next week, I have plans on starting seeds for the garden. It is February 8th today, and I typically start my seeds in a greenhouse around Valentine's Day every year. So I'm kind of chomping at the bit this year, about a week early here. So either this weekend or next weekend, I'm going to go ahead and start my seeds. That way we can be ready to go. Things that I like to start this time of year in a greenhouse where we live, we're in zone 8B in far western Texas. We're in a desert climate. It's very, very arid where we live, but we have massive fluctuations in day to night temperatures. So even though the high today, February 8th, is 88 degrees, we're still regularly getting down to 32 degrees at night. So it's still a little bit too dangerous to try to start things like tomatoes and peppers and frost tender vegetables in the ground out here. So we do still start with a greenhouse, but I try to get things started about 8 to 10 weeks before it's time to plant them out into these beds. So this weekend we'll probably start in a greenhouse things like tomatoes and peppers. I'm also going to start some annuals and some flowering plants and other vegetables. Things that we'll be waiting until it's time to plant them in the ground and just put seeds right into the ground are gonna be things like corn. We'll probably plant my squashes and my cantaloupes straight into the ground, because in my experience, they don't really like their roots to be messed with, and they just are a little bit stronger when I plant those directly into the ground. So we'll get started on our nightshades this weekend and next weekend, and we'll come back and get everything else started directly into the ground a little bit closer to D-Day, or digging planting day. Well, that's all I have for you guys today, but stay tuned. We have more to come. Each video we're coming out with, we're getting closer to the gardening season, which gets me very excited. I know Josh has been so supportive in helping, really in building all of this for me, and he's excited to see the fruits of our labor come to fruition with plants growing in this space. So we'll have to keep you guys updated. I'm sure we're gonna have fruit and vegetables coming out of our ears in this space, but our goal here is to not only create enough food for Josh and I, but also to enjoy a passion that I love, which is gardening, and to be able to also help produce enough to support the community. We do want to give away and sell the excess food that we grow in this space. So it's gonna be hopefully a really successful garden, and hopefully something that we can bless the community with as well. Well guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm gonna get back to walking Evie. I'm gonna run into town to grab some seed starting mix so that I can get to having some fun, getting my hands in the dirt and getting some seeds started in the greenhouse. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. It really helps this channel out. And hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you guys along following with our journey, and you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Until next time, keep doing what you're doing, and y'all guys have a great day. And just like that, the sun is up, crested that mountain, and we're flooded with light. You ready to start this day? Let's go for our walk. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Let's go. You're just jumping around. You excited? Like, yes, we're not sitting here talking about stuff anymore. We get to walk. It's always plants or fences or gardens or building stuff. Even though Evie is in all of these videos, I think if she were able to subscribe, she probably wouldn't. Bore her to death.